Alright guys, I'm gonna let you know why Dragon Age the Veilguard sucks balls. I just got done playing it for 20 hours. I put 20 hours in my life into it. And no more. I can't do any more. It just feels like torture, this game. It feels like it's the same torture I felt when I played God of War Ragnarok. Same exact torture. I just couldn't do it. I had to drop the game for my own well-being. It's just such a terrible game. Terrible game. Don't believe those mainstream reviews, 9 out of 10, 10 out of... No way, hell no. This is the worst game, and it hurts even more because Dragon Age is a series I've been with since the beginning. I've invested hundreds of hours in this game with its characters, with its story, with its world, with its setting. I've been such a huge fan of this series, and for them to do this, it hurts a lot more than God of War Ragnarok, where I spent no time on the series. So let me give you guys my thoughts on why this game sucks major balls. So let's get into it. Let's just get started with the levels. The levels. You explore levels like Minrathous, the Arleton Forest, the Nevarran Necropolis, the Ravani Coast, or the Anderfell Mountains. I wanted to explore these worlds. They sounded so cool in the codex in the previous games. You would read about them in the logs, saying, gosh, I wish I could explore Northern Tadas and these areas that they talk about. They sound so cool. But in this game, when you actually get to them, they feel so lame. They feel so uninviting. They feel so artificial. The best way I can describe these levels, you're stuck in a certain scene in a movie. It feels like a stage. It doesn't feel organic. You don't feel like exploring it because it just feels like you're stuck in time. The world doesn't feel organic, compelling. I want it like a real living, breathing world, like in the previous Dragon Age games. In the previous Dragon Age games, yes, in Dragon Age 1 and 2, the levels were linear. But in Dragon Age Inquisition, they were open world. But it didn't matter. All the levels were very compelling. I wanted to see every nook and cranny of the levels. Get all the books. Get all the log entries. See what's going on. What characters are there. Like the city of Kirkwall, for example, in Dragon Age 2. Yes, it had very repetitive levels. But man, that city, it felt like a living, breathing city that you wanted to explore. It felt organic. Same thing with Dragon Age Origins or the places in Dragon Age Inquisition, such as the Hinterlands, or the Western Approach, or the Forbidden Oasis. All of them felt like Dragon Age levels. Here, I don't know. There's just something missing. The best comparison I can give you is if you ever played SOTOR, the planets in SOTOR. That's how the levels in this game feel. Very, very, very stuck in motion. Very stuck in motion. Very artificial. Very weird feeling. It just doesn't feel like a place I want to explore, and that's just such a shame because they could have done such a better job at these levels. Let's get on to the characters. The characters, all of them suck. I didn't find a single compelling character. I was wishing, gosh man, what about the characters from the previous game? Where are they? Can we bring them back? I don't like any of these characters. For example, you take the character Bellara, the Veil Jumper elf. She doesn't even feel like she belongs in a Dragon Age game. She doesn't even feel like a Dragon Age character. She feels like this character that they pulled from a Pixar or Disney movie. She has this witty, funny elf. Come on, guys, the world is ending. This isn't the time to be a witty elf. Come on. Her character design is so weird looking. It doesn't feel like a Dragon Age character. Dragon Age characters are in armor or practical clothing, ready for anything, ready for combat. Look at the characters: Aveline, Meryl, Varric, Colin, Cassandra. Those guys felt like they were ready for battle. They felt like they fitted their roles and the setting. None of the characters here feel like that. If we look at the character Neve, like, what type of design is this? She's missing one leg and she's wearing a graduation cap. Like, what is she supposed to be? What is she supposed to represent? Like, this, you could say this for all the characters. None of the characters feel practical. Look at Professor Emmerich. Like, what the heck? What is this character? He looks like, is he supposed to be a professor? He doesn't look like that. It's all the characters. Don't even get me started on the character Tash. Everything you've heard about that character is true. 100% true. If I talk about her, I risk my channel getting banned. I'd rather not risk that. But yeah, it's a complete bullshit character. It's like the writers projecting themselves into this game. But yeah, that's how all the characters feel. I don't care about them. I don't care about them like all the other characters I felt like Morrigan, Aveline, Varric, Colin, Cassandra, Solas. All these characters. I talked to all of them. I did all their quests in all the previous games. Here, I couldn't even bring myself to do even one quest. The only time the characters are interesting is when they refer past games. For example, you talk to Harding and she talks to you about the Inquisition. That's when it gets my attention. Oh, the Inquisition, tell me about it. What's going on with it? Other than that, There's nothing here. There's nothing here to explore. It's not even worth exploring the conversations with these characters. Even worse, you can't even talk to them whenever you want. You have to wait for some new dialogue to appear, then you can talk about it. And then my next complaint is the hub here, is the lighthouse. The lighthouse is just not an interesting hub. Once again, it suffers the same problem the other levels do. It feels like it's frozen in time. It feels very artificial. It's not like the Skyhold Keep from Dragon Age Inquisition or Hawk's Estate or even the campgrounds from Origins. It just feels like, man, you don't even feel good to be here. In the previous games hubs, you felt like, okay, man, I just came back from a tough quest or a huge story exposition. I'm just glad to be back here and upgrade my armor, maybe talk to some companions, take it easy. I didn't feel like that here in the lighthouse. I was like, man, I gotta get out of here. This just feels like a trash place, man. I don't know where they went wrong with this game. But enough about the characters. I can't miss the story. The story, yes. The story is the direct sequel to Inquisition. You finally chase down Solus. You stop his ritual to destroy the Veil. And instead, you release 2 evil villains. But the thing, once again, the problem with the villains is they don't feel threatening. They don't feel compelling. Once again, they feel like they came out of some Disney movie, especially Galenane, the way she looks like, the way she acts. I didn't even see Alganon, whatever his name is, man. But I didn't feel threatened at all, man. It didn't feel like the Arishock from Dragon Age 2 or Corypheus or the Abominations from Dragon Age Origins or Loghain. There's no seriousness to this game. There's no consequences. There's no stress. There's no tension. There's no real consequences. You don't feel that tension. Like, yes, the world is ending, but you don't feel it. Wherever you are in the game, you don't feel like the world is ending. Shouldn't a game where the world is ending feel like that? And furthermore, your character, the Rook, why are we even the Rook? Why is the Inquisitor not there? Varric, why the hell do you have to become a no-name again? If anything, the Inquisitor is the most suiting character for this sequel because you're trying to stop Solus, who was the previous companion in the previous game. It just doesn't make sense. Or anything else. They could have had all 3 characters. Like, where the hell is Hawk? Where is the hero Ferelden? Shouldn't these people be involved in stopping the end of the world against these 2 elven gods? It doesn't make sense to me, guys. It doesn't make sense to me. They could have made a really epic game. They could have had all 3 characters from the previous Dragon Age games. You could have play at them. With the Inquisitor, you could have been chasing Solus. That could have been one arc. With the hero Ferelden, you could have rallied the Grey Wardens. And with Hawk, you could have rallied the mages and the Templars and had a final culmination where you play as all 3 of them and stop Solus from destroying the Veil. That would have been a great game. That would have been a compelling game. The way they designed it, you have to be Rook. Who the hell is Rook, man? How is he different from any other Grey Warden or Whale Jumper or Shadow Dragon or whatever the hell faction you have? Which brings me to my next point. You could choose your origin story for these characters. Like, you can be a Grey Warden or a Shadow Dragon or a Whale Jumper or whatever you want. But the thing is, okay, it just gives you a text of what you were. Why not give us a 2-hour exposition like Dragon Age Origins did? Dragon Age Origins gave you an exposition for each type of class you chose, whether you were a mage or a human noble or whatever. You don't get that here. So what were you guys doing for 10 years, man? You could have made a great Dragon Age game. I'm not even a game developer. I'm throwing great ideas at you. Like, why couldn't you get any of this right? Which gets me to my next problem, the gameplay. The gameplay feels like God of War Ragnarok. You just bash X or Y until you build up enough rage. Then you use your rage moves. You only get 3 moves at one time. And you just kill your enemies like that. You dodge, you parry, you hit them with X. Then you use your rage move. That's it. Rinse, repeat, ad nauseum. There's no player agency in this combat system. There's no thinking involved. I go back to Dragon Age 2. I love the Dragon Age 2 combat system where you really had to think. You had to have your tank. You had to have your DPS. And you had to have your healer. And you had to decide, okay, how am I going to position these guys? What type of strategy I want to use? There's no strategy in this game. You can't even control your companions. You only get commands of the companion. Oh, do I want them to do this move or do I want them to heal me? Otherwise, and they don't even die. Otherwise, you just roll around, parry, hit, rinse, repeat, ad nauseum. It feels exactly like God of War Ragnarok. And the way you go through the levels is a linear level. You kill all these enemies just like God of War Ragnarok. Do a simple puzzle, move forward. There's no thinking involved. It's very brainless, man. That's the problem with this gameplay. I can't believe people say the gameplay is good. No, hell no, it's not, man. I thought Inquisition's gameplay was the worst. But no, this takes home the cake, man. It's such terrible gameplay, so boring, you just turn your mind off. Which tells you who they had in mind for this game. They had the Fortnite or Call of Duty babies for this game, in mind for this game. That tells me, why don't you respect the fans who carried you through the last 15 years, BioWare, who were with you thick and thin when you messed up with Andromeda, when you messed up with Anthem. Why do you not respect people who've carried you, who built your legacy, who supported you? That's what makes me so mad about this game, man. It's the gameplay sucks, the story sucks, the characters suck, everything sucks. Let's go talk about the graphics. I think graphics are one of the biggest reason why this game doesn't feel like a Dragon Age game. I don't know, it feels like this weird mix of realism and Pixar graphics. I just can't put my finger on it, but it doesn't feel like Dragon Age. I don't know what these graphics are. You know what I would have preferred? Just use the old ass graphics from Dragon Age Origins or 2. That would have been better than these graphics, and you could have just upscaled them at 4K. That would have been, you would have saved your time, saved you money, and would have had a better tone than these graphics. Who came up with these stylized graphics that don't know what they are? They don't know their identity. Just like the developers, right? They don't know their identity. Don't get me started on that, but gosh, man, this game, I could go on and on and on why there's so much wrong with this game, man. It's so disappointing. I waited 10 years for this. Inquisition came out in 2014, and they couldn't even execute this game properly. Something needs to change at BioWare. Seriously, something needs to change. Either management needs to change, or the developers need to change. Something needs to change at this. I fear for Mass Effect 5. I honestly fear for Mass Effect 5 at this point. I have no hope for Mass Effect 5. If it comes out good, it comes out good. Otherwise, I am not optimistic at all about Mass Effect 5. My overall rating for this game, like a 1 out of 10. Worse than Ragnarok, because I was actually invested in this series. This is such an utter disappointment. It's like an abomination or a slot demon from Dragon Age Origins. What have they done to such a beautiful series? What a shame, man. Let me know what you think in the comments.